Hello, Facebook land. Welcome. We're doing our 30-day Unleash the Dragon challenge. And I'm just going to check in, make sure everything's okay. You can hear all right. The audio is working fine. Just wait a little bit. Well, good. Good to see everybody. Hello. All right, well, let's get started. Hello, everybody. Hopefully you can hear me all right. So welcome to our 30-day challenge, Unleash the Dragon challenge, based on the 6 animals Kung Fu, the 6 animal archetypes of Qin Lao. Today we've got a special treat, don't we always? Today we're going to be doing white leopard. What I'd like to do is start off with doing some of the other animal bows, and we'll get into the leopard in a little bit here. So let's start off, let's go through them. Start off with boa, and just take a moment, let yourself relax, shake off any unnecessary tension, and take a couple of deep breaths. Softening, scanning your body for any unnecessary tension, releasing and relaxing. And we're going to do the bow today, and on our way to building up leopard, we're going to focus a little bit on how the animals see the world, how they use vision and sight. So as you get into boa, just soften your gaze. Look straight ahead at some invisible horizon in front of you, but soften your gaze so that you're taking the world in through the corners of your eyes and the sort of like gauze-like quality. And soften and exhale. Keep that soft gaze in your eyes and in your attitude. And let's do the bow together. Breathing in, straightening the legs, curling up the spine, brushing the cobwebs off of the eyes. Smoothly, softly, floatingly, moving, exhaling, curling down. And again, letting your eye gaze soften, not focusing on anything in particular. Breathing in deep, hands come out to the side, hug the beach ball, bring the world in, and let the world out. One more time, one last time. Breathing deep. Stop the world, pause, put everything on pause, and then bring it in, and exhale. And standing, feeling your body. And again, have that soft focus in your eyes, not looking at anything in particular, just letting everything in your visual field come in. Good. For those of you just joining, we're going to do the bows of the animals, and I'll just highlight how you use your sight and your vision for each of the animals. So much of what the animals are about is embodying the animals, and that's not just about your posture and your movement, but how you use your senses, and how you use your eyes is a really big cue. It can be a really powerful cue for turning an animal on. So let's do panther. Now, panther, first feel your body get a little bit heavier. Feel your tendons and your ligaments. Feel the recoil and spring that's built into them. Feel the groin. Feel the sensuality of the soft, sensitive skin areas of your body. And the way that you use your eyes, you look at the world from underneath the brow of your eyes, and what you focus on is the space between things, the shadows. So, let's do the bow. Take a moment and breathe in deep. You're drawing up energy from the ground, swamp, murky, wet, and stinky, up through the tendons and ligaments. And then as you exhale, you're exhaling out through your tendons and ligaments. And your sight is focusing on the shadows between things. Breathing in deep. Notice the space between the outlines of objects. Breathing in deep. Exhaling out through the tendons and ligaments back down into the earth. A couple more times. Breathe energy in through the tendons and ligaments, into the groin, into the back of your brainstem. Connect with your inner Neanderthal and caveman and cavewoman. And last time. And exhale like you're breathing out your tendons and ligaments. There you go. And triangles into the groin and into your belly button. And again, looking at the world from underneath the brows of the eyes, and you're seeing the spaces between things, like every little nook and cranny you can hide in. So that's panther. And then tiger. Tiger, you straighten out, you find your musculature, you find the big armor plate muscles, your big mirror muscles that provide you like with protection and padding. And you feel your presence fill up with fire and assertion. You're feeling your will, the power of your physical body, the burning of your courageous heart, and a linear focus that just cuts through the space. And the way that you use your eyes, you look directly at and into things. It's like looking at an object, looking at an object, looking at an object. It's very direct. And so tiger, bringing in, fill up your whole body with breath on the first in-breath. Turn the feet open. Fill up your body with even more breath on the second breath. Raise the arms up. And then exhale, turn the feet in, and squeeze an accordion as you forcibly exhale. One more time. In high tension. One more time. You're pushing in all directions at once. And triangle, fill up with breath in the belly. And flip the triangle up at the heart. And stand. And again, with your eyes, you're focusing directly onto an object. Just you and it, nothing else. Everything else is a distraction. That's the rumble of a tiger. I don't know if you can hear the motorcycle engine, but yeah, beautiful tiger. Okay. Awesome. Yeah, we'll just wait for that to go. Yes. So, panthers and tigers really love loud motorcycles, especially panthers, just to get that rumble, just like you're straddling this like volcano that's gurgling underneath you. Panthers love that. That also that like the loud, like, you know, I am here, turf, that kind of feeling that you have when you ride a motorcycle, like you're really present and you're really focused on where you're going because you're vulnerable on just two wheels. And there's an edge of tiger in that. Okay, so then python. Let's do python. Take a little step back here so you can see the hands. And maybe I'll just take a quick step here, check in with the comments, make sure everything's okay. Hope you're doing all right. Thank you. Okay, cool. All right. All right, so python. Now, python's a little bit tricky. So python will look at you without looking like it's looking at you. it's kind of got like a neutral forward gaze, but it's focusing on things out of the corner of its eyes. So it's focused, it's not gauzy like Boa, which doesn't give a damn about looking at things, because Boa is really interested in the feeling, and it uses its empathy to really connect with things. So it's not really focused on the eyes. Python uses all of its senses. It's always tracking what's going on in terms of the temperature of the room, the colors in the visual scene, the sounds that it's hearing, like the motorcycle, the smell of a room, the taste on its tongue when it goes into a room. It's tracking each one of its modalities all the time. And when it comes to vision, it plays with what are called in psychology overt attention and covert attention. Overt means you know what the animal is paying attention to. So with overt attention, if I'm paying attention to the ball up there in front of me, my eyes are directed at the ball. You can tell what I'm looking at. Covert, it's like, covert like the CIA, you can't tell, it's in disguise. So it's what you're paying attention to without directing your perceptual organ that way. So I could be looking at the ball straight in front of me, but covertly paying attention to the scene through the window to my side. So I'm not directing my eyes there, but I'm still paying attention to that. So the Python plays with both covert and overt attention. And what it loves doing is throwing people off. It's like, here, catch, that kind of thing. So they'll use their attention to misdirect people. So with Python, what you feel like you're doing is your eyes are on one thing, but you're checking in with your attention in other areas of the scene. So it's like really neutral. So let's do the bow, as you have that use of your eyes in mind as you do the bow. So with Python, we exhale. And as you inhale, breathing deep, let the breath raise your arms for you. Pack energy into the bones. I'll do it to the side. And again, I'm paying attention to different angles of the room as I'm doing this. I'm playing with my covert attention, sending my attention to different corners of the room while I keep my eyes focused on one thing in front of me. And then standing. And as I stand in Python, what I try to do is I try to track each of my senses. So I'm listening to other sound, to the sounds, wherever they may be. So there's a ticking of a clock over in that direction. There's people overhead stepping over there. There was a car back there. And I try to pay attention to that while as I'm listening, I'll check in with my smell, sense of taste, the touch. What do my clothes feel like on me? What do my feet feel like on the ground? And that's how you use the senses, especially for Python. And today, what we're going to do next is the leopard. And we'll have our regular sandwich structure. We'll do the bow for the leopard. We'll do some alignment exercise, and then do the bow again. And I wanted to focus on how the animals use their senses, because it touches back on why I wanted to do these videos to begin with. And that was to give people tools that they can use and help them adapt in these in the complicated times of change that we're likely going to face when we come out of this quarantine. And it has to do with having fun, with changing your perspective. So just, each of these, what I like about this system, what I really love about it, and why I think it's useful for where we are today, is that these are archetypes that reflect different ways of looking at the world. It's kind of like our birthright to be able to change, not just our opinion, but also our perspective. And I was just thinking about this earlier. I think very often for people, when you talk about changing your perspective, like in school or something, it usually involves a lot of work when it's with stuff that we don't, we're not entirely comfortable with or familiar with. But, if you think about something that you love doing, like a hobby, or another person that you love, we change our perspective, we sort of shift our gears a lot, and we call it play, right? It's like, if you have some kind of hobby, you have one approach, doing one thing, I don't know, stamp collecting or model building or something, and you may look at what you're doing from the perspective of, from one perspective. And what makes it fun is that you shift your perspective, and all of a sudden something entirely different arises, and a problem that you couldn't solve from one point of view, you can solve from another. And so this shifting of perspective is playful a lot of time, especially in situations like a hobby that we like. And I think that there is something inherently playful and engaging about changing our perspective. I think that we sometimes approach it like it's going to be work. And what I find with the animals is that they are a really cool tool for making perspective changing fun, no matter what situation I'm in. It's one of the gifts I think the animal archetypes have to offer, especially in this day and age. That it's our birthright to change perspective, and it's inherently fun. And so the whole exercise of like changing how you look at the world is kind of like a little mini embodied metaphor for changing your perspective in other ways, right? It's a reminder that you can do it. It's a practice. And what you'll find is that if you practice looking at the world like, physically differently, and you connect that with an animal, then anytime you think of the animal, your physical behavior will also change a little bit, and the mental perspective will also shift a little bit, and you'll find yourself being more cognitively flexible. So that was so I wanted to share that, and I hope that makes sense. And I especially wanted to do it for leopard. I'm wearing my white shirt for the white leopard today. And the reason for talking about this during leopard is because perspective is really important for the white leopard, for the snow leopard. So the white leopard, the snow leopard, the myth of the snow leopard, and each of the animals has a myth, and I haven't really talked about them, and I will later on. But with the snow leopard, the image of the snow leopard is that it's high atop a mountain peak, and it looks and it likes that vantage point because it gives the leopard very clear view of all of its surroundings. That distance gives it clarity of sight, which the leopard loves. And with the leopard, its perspective is very large. It's on a very large spatial and time scale. So it sees the big picture. And sometimes that's a literal big image in terms of degrees, but it also can be very big in scope in terms of time. And so I wanted to talk about that kind of big picture quality of the leopard. So we'll do the bow, but as you're doing the bow, what you want to feel is that kind of sensation that you get when you just feel like your mind is being expanded and you're just seeing more and more. If you've ever had, so I'll tell a story that my wife was telling me today, actually, she was talking about a trip that she'd taken down to her home at various ages. And she got to a particular spot. I can't remember how old she was when she said in the story, I think she was like in her 40s or so. But she'd gone to her childhood home where she'd grown up all of her life. And, you know, she got into a particular spot in front of her house, and she remembered all the keen moments, all those important, memorable, evocative moments that she experienced, like in that spot, in that particular spot, in the house, when she was, you know, 5 years old, 6 years old, 10, 12 years old, when she was, you know, a teenager working for the first time at 16, 18, and then when she had, you know, gone to college and then came back for a visit when she was in her early 20s and mid 20s, and then when she came back as a well-established lecturer and psychologist in her 40s, coming back to that same spot, and then feeling the accumulation, feeling the entirety of all of those different selves of herself in that spot, in that same spot across all that time. That's a really great example of how the white leopard perceives. So you want that sense of expansiveness across space and across time while you're doing the bow. So let's do the bow. We'll go through the movements, and then we'll do the alignment work, and then do the bow again. Now, with the leopard represents intuition. It's so intuition is, it's like when you see the big picture, when you see everything all at once. It's when information comes to you and you know things without having had to work for it. So it's like big dollops of information. It's like if you've ever been, I don't know, written a story or a song, like those moments, they're few and far between, but they're so special when they happen, when the song is all there, melody, lyrics, and everything, all in one shot. Painting or stories and so on, where you see the whole big picture in one shot. The leopard is sort of, this intuition is, it's about inspiration, and there is an element of it that's otherworldly, where you're connecting to something larger than yourself. So that's the kind of information that the leopard revels in, is the kind of perspective that the leopard has, that kind of cosmic perspective. The parts of the body that are important for the leopard, there's the throat, so it's communication, the collarbones and the throat area, the frontal lobes, it's clarity of thinking, and then the crown of the head, as if you're open to cosmic inspiration. The quality of motion of the leopard is very light. So it's light, so boa is light as well, but boa is much more floaty and is kind of nebulous. Leopard is quick in its lightness. It's lightning. Okay, so that's a little bit of the quality. Let's get into it. So feel like your collarbones are being pulled lengthwise apart, and you're relaxing your shoulder blades. The back of your head is being pulled straight up towards the sky. You've got little wires underneath the brows of your head, also pulling your head up. So you're floating. And you're feeling so light that if you just lifted your feet off the ground, you'd jump up, you'd float up. So this is the quality of leopard, of the white leopard. Now, inhale, you bring your fingers to your throat. How do you start this motion? So yeah, you just bring your fingers up to your throat. And as you inhale, the hands go out to the side and up at 90 degrees on a first in-breath, and then on the second in-breath, the hands come down. And then you're going to exhale, you're going to turn your feet in, and you're going to bring the crown from the heavens down your head and out your throat as you exhale. And as you're doing this, you're imagining like you're channeling energy and information down from the heavens and then communicating it out through the throat. So, and exhale. Let's try that again. And then the triangles. Triangle at the throat, and then triangle at the crown. You could probably see me doing something with my tongue. So as you inhale, you make a little straw shape with your tongue. I don't know if you can see that. Like so. And you breathe in. And then as you exhale with a whistling kind of sound. That's not so important right now. We're just getting the basic mechanics of the bow. Now, let's do a little exercise, alignment exercise for the leopard. Now, the leopard is very much concerned with the higher planes of existence, so it's much more concerned about the upper joints. So we're going to focus a little bit on the arms and the shoulder girdle. And so for that, we'll do this on the ground. So this will be another little Feldenkrais exercise, and I'm just going to lower the camera. There we go. And what you want to do is you want to relax down on the floor on your back. So you're letting the floor do all of the heavy lifting of holding your body up. And what you're going to do is you're going to make some light, move into the light here a little bit more. You're going to make some light fists with your hands. And what you're going to do is you're going to roll the hands down and then roll the hands up. So if I was holding a bowl of soup, I'd be turning the bowl of soup down, spilling all of the soup, and then I would be rolling the bowl of soup back, spilling it the other way, spilling it entirely the other way. So rolling down and rolling up. And rolling down. You're doing it from your shoulder socket. So you want to feel like it's not just your wrists moving, but that you're rotating from the shoulder socket. So the shoulder is like your whole arm, including your shoulder, is like a drill bit, and you're screwing from the top of the shoulder. You're screwing the drill bit from the top of the shoulder. And open, so up, pronating, and supinating. And as you're doing this, your feet are flat on the ground, your knees are bent, and you're trying to isolate in the shoulder sockets as much as possible. This is it's a fantastic exercise for helping increase your fluidity of motion in your shoulders. It can help relieve shoulder tension if you've got neck strains or neck pain. You can help loosen up your shoulder muscles, and that'll help release the neck pain. It's great if you've been on the computer all day. Okay, and then chill out and rest. And what we're going to do is we're going to do the same exercise. You're going to dump the soup bowl, and as you dump the soup bowl, you're going to pop your chest up. And then as you pour the soup bowl in the opposite direction, you're going to cave your chest in. So you're going to pronate, you're going to roll the soup bowl onto its mouth and pop your chest up. And you're going to roll it and pour the soup back and cave the chest in. Roll forward, pop the chest up, roll back, cave the chest in. And your head will go back a little bit. And when you pop the chest, your chin will come down to your chest as you roll the arms forward. Roll the arms back, cave the chest, chin goes up. Roll the arms forward, chest comes up, chin comes down to the chest. A couple more times. Roll the arms back, chin goes up, chest goes down. Roll the arms forward, chest comes up, chin comes down to the chest. And just hang out, relax. So what we just did there was an oppositional pattern. We did the opposite of what your body naturally wants to do. And now we're going to do the pattern that your body does naturally want to do. So what's going to happen is we're going to do the same thing, roll forward, roll back. And we're going to move our chest and our chin, but now we're going to move in the direction that they want to move in naturally. So I'm going to roll forward, and before I popped my chest up and my chin came down to my chest, now I'm going to do the opposite. When I roll forward, my chest is going to cave in and my chin's going to pop up. I'm going to roll the arms back, chest is going to come up, chin down to the chest. Roll forward, chest down, chin up. Roll back, chest up, chin in. And roll. And roll. So roll forward, chest down, chin up. And roll back, chest up, chin in. One last time. Roll forward, chest down, chin up. Roll back, chest up, chin in. And then just rest, bring your arms down by your side, and feel how your body feels. So I know for myself I have a little bit more space lengthwise on my back, especially between the shoulder blades. Now let's come on up. And I came up a bit quickly there, but curl up. Try and do it in a way that doesn't cause you stress. Come on up slowly, and I'm going to readjust the camera in the meantime. There we go. And feel what your body feels like. And now let's do the leopard bow again and see how it feels different this time than when you first did it. And so again, tune in to that great big expanse and scope of time and space. Connect into the cosmos. Feel your intuition. Feel perhaps moments in your own life when you've been suddenly inspired. And breathe in. Whoops. Once, twice. And exhale. And in. And exhale. Notice any differences in your arms. Exhale. One last time. And breathing in deep. Triangle. Fill up the throat with energy. And then exhale, turn the feet, bring the triangle up to the crown, and exhale, send energy back up into the cosmos. Through the crown of your head. And then stand. And feel what your body feels like. So I know for myself, when I did the exercise and then did the bow a second time, I just felt more open and loose, less pinching in my shoulders. And now that I've done the bow and the exercise, I just feel like my collarbones are just hanging flat and loose, and that my arms and shoulders are relaxed. And I just, with the bow, especially having done leopard for a while now, I just have this sort of sense of 360 degrees of perception, or a very wide field of view in my peripheral vision, like I can see all around me. A really important way of practicing white leopard is to imagine yourself above and behind yourself, looking down. So you have this sort of satellite view of your life. And this is really a great way of cultivating the objectivity that the white leopard values and prizes. So it's a classic exercise for white leopard. So to see yourself from a third person perspective above and behind yourself. I really like this practice of looking at yourself from a third person above and behind. It actually has, there's a psychological component to it, or some backup for it. Years later, after I practiced this art for a while, it turns out that holding different perspectives is actually a really useful way of dealing with difficult experiences or with trauma. And each of the animals has a sort of a different way has a different contribution and gift to offer. And I'd like to talk about them a little bit because they're just such useful tools. So for example, let's say you're dealing with somebody who is like angry, or kind of playing it cool. It's like they're so angry that what they're doing is they are stonewalling. They're sort of just shutting out the world. That kind of an angry reaction, which is more common in males than females, a really great way of countering that is with self-soothing. And how do you self-soothe? You feel the good things that you can feel. So this is Panther. So this is getting you in touch with your senses. So your sensory awareness. And that's a really great way when you're dealing with somebody who's just cold, white cold, angry, and just cutting everything off. You get them to just pay attention to their breath and feel the sensation of breathing. Feel the sensation of whatever's going on in the moment that actually feels good. If you're dealing with somebody that's actually overwhelmed by emotional feelings, you do the opposite. You don't get them to pay attention to their body. You get them to do Python. You get them to pay attention to things that are quantifiable and observable. Look at that. Notice the color of this. Notice the size of that. Listen to the sound of this. Smell the smell of that. And you get them to focus on empirical sensations. If you get a person who's emotionally upset to focus on their feelings, you'll just make them more upset about what they're feeling. So you get them to pay attention. Yes, they're using their perception, but on external objective stimuli. And there's also difference. So there's that difference between empirical versus interoceptive perception, and there's a difference between egocentric perception and third-person perspective. And egocentric, it doesn't mean in the sense of like egocentric and like selfish, but first person. And so when you're learning, when you're thinking about practicing a strategy, and you're trying to estimate what something is going to require, it's really good to have Tiger, that first person perspective where you imagine doing something in the first person. If you've had like some sort of difficult situation, it's not traumatic, but you kind of need to, maybe embarrassing, and you need to learn from it. You need to detach from it so that you can learn from it. White leopard's third person perspective becomes really useful. Even so, looking at yourself from above and behind and reimagining the situation and seeing it from that removed perspective can help give you some distance. You can also, if you find that there's a situation where you often get overwhelmed, you can narrate the situation. You can tell yourself a story about the situation in which you're in the story, but you're talking about yourself from a third person perspective. So Stephen right now is doing this and that and the other thing, like a sportscaster. And again, that offers a little bit of distance, a white leopard kind of distance, and it helps you better evaluate situations that they're not emotionally like traumatizing, but they're just challenging, where you're trying to assert, you're just trying to grow up and mature. And talking about yourself in that third person perspective can help that process of maturing. And the process of problem solving. And it's all about perspective. White leopard is definitely all about perspective, and it's one of the reasons why I wanted to offer this challenge for people as we continue our journey in these really interesting times. We're going to need to bring all of our resources, our cognitive, emotional, physical, and social resources to bear as this global situation evolves and develops. And we want to do it in a way that reaffirms our humanity. We want to exercise all of those gifts that make us uniquely human and make us uniquely who we are. So thank you for being here. I hope that you've enjoyed and I found this useful and insightful. And we'll be here again tomorrow. So same time, same channel. And I'll post up some material later on tonight, other exercises that you can do to delve into leopard a little bit more and have fun and play with it. All right. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow.